Good day, everybody. It is a Thursday and it's very, very hot. It's 90 degrees to 98, somewhere around in there. Today, I am going to talk about how I cook my calabacitas. Now, I've had several friends who like them when they've eaten them and always wanted to know how to cook them. So, this is what we're going to start with. Mexican squash. That's what calabacitas are. It's just a Mexican squash. They're usually a lot smaller than this. And I happened to run into them pretty fairly big. I was surprised to see them this big. And I got these at the Mexican store. Now, you can get them most generally at your local grocery store if you don't have a Mexican store nearby. But I got 3 of these. There's one right there, and then there's this one. And you're going to want hot dogs or chorizo, Mexican chorizo. Now, I don't use the Mexican chorizo sometimes because my daughter will not eat Mexican chorizo. So I use hot dogs. Then you're going to want an onion. I use yellow onions. I do not like the flavor of white onions, and I do not like the flavor of sweet onions. So I use yellow onions. Then you're going to want tomatoes. Now, I use Roma tomatoes. With Roma tomatoes, you can use 3 of them. Now, if you want to use the other type of tomatoes, that's fine. Just make sure you add it for flavor and to your tasting and how much you like to put in it. Then you're going to want garlic. Now, if you don't like garlic, you don't have to put garlic. However, I love garlic, so I will be using garlic. I use 2 cloves. Now, I always use a big one and a medium-sized one. And I buy the garlic that I get has the purple leaves on it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it has the purple covering. To me, these taste just a tad bit better and have more flavor. Okay, then you're going to want cheese. Now, I don't have the cheese that I want to use because they did not have them at the Mexican store. For inside of my calabacitas, I will usually use queso oaxaqueño, which means Oaxacan cheese. And it melts really, really good. It's really soft, and it's got this really great flavor that adds to the food. So instead, I'm going to use another cheese that I like that brings out a lot of flavor in food as well. And it's by a company called Figaro. I buy this every chance I get. I rarely find it, but I love it. And what it is, it's Parmesan cheese. Now, I'll use it inside of my food because it brings out a lot of flavor for me. And then on the top, I usually use queso fresco, which means fresh cheese. Now, I do not have fresh cheese either, or queso fresco. So, I will be using this that I got at my local Walmart. It's a great value, finely shredded taco blend cheese. My kids like it when they eat what we call taco gringos. And that's what this is. This is what they eat. So this is going to go on top of my calabacitas. Okay? Alright, well, let's get the chopping, shall we? Now, starting with the calabacitas, you are going to want to cut off the head. This part right here is, there's no reason to have it. You don't need it. It's just part of the vine. And then what you're going to want to do, you're going to turn it this way, and you're going to cut it in 3 parts. You want it in thirds going this way. So you want 3 pieces. Then when you get ready to cut it again, you want to lay it down this way. And you're going to want to cut it in 3 more pieces. Now, sometimes you will have to cut them 4 ways. But every time you do it this way, cut it 3 ways. Just 2 slices, okay? And then you'll have your 3 pieces. But this way, sometimes it's either 3 to 4, I will say. Now, I've already cut one up, and I will show you what it looks like. Okay? There's the head. Okay, I don't need that. It could go in the trash. Now, this one was a smaller piece. So I decided to cut this one up in four. It kind of got stuck on me. I cut this one up right here into 4 pieces. Silly thing. Because it was a little too wide. And then this one, it wasn't that wide, so I cut this one up in 3 slices. Now, if you noticed, I have 3 slices. This right here, this right here, and this right here is all one piece from cutting it this way. And I always cut that piece 3 ways. And this is what it looks like. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to chop them. Not too finely either. About, yay big. Because when you put them on the stove and they cook, they go down significantly. So I'll chop it right about here. Make them chunky little pieces is what I do. This is all I do. Whoop. It's kind of hard to cut when you're holding a phone. Give me a second. And then I'm going to take this end right here, which has the butt. I'm going to set it right there, because I won't use that either. Now, some people I know, they use them for soups and stuff, just for flavoring, but I don't. I just throw them away. To me, they're no use. Okay? Now that you got your calabacitas in the size that you would like. Now, this is the way I do it. You don't have to cut them up this size. But this is the way I do it, because I know when I put them in the pot or the pan, they go down significantly. Alright, I will return and show you what I have done with the rest of the calabacitas, because when you chop them up, you're going to want to put them in a bowl. Preferably a big bowl if you have one. If you don't, that's fine. So I'm going to put mine in this bowl. You can see it's a fairly big salad bowl, which I don't use them for salad. And I will return to you in just a moment. Okay, I'm back. This is the calabacitas all cut up. Now, when you get the calabacitas cut up, you're going to want to put them in a pan with a little bit of oil, which I will show you here in a moment. But I wanted to show you what these calabacitas looked like. You can see that there's some, some small ones, some big ones. But they're cubed, they're sliced, they're in there. Now, if you want them extra big, it's going to take a little longer for them to cook. But I've got a mixture in here, and like I said, when you cook them, these mainly contain water. So they're going to go down in size when you cook them. And I decided that my little helper, since she woke up from her nap, she gets to help us. Say hi, Xiomara. Say hi, Mama. So she's going to be helping us today while we're doing all of this. Okay, now I have everything cut up. I have my calabacitas cut up, my tomatoes cut up, my onions cut up, and my hot dogs cut up. Now with the hot dogs, I cut them in fourths. So that way they're tiny, and that way they're not so overtaking and overbearing on the calabacitas. Because if you have them in there with that, in their big chunks, it takes over the color. It doesn't do nothing to the flavor, it just takes over the way it looks. And I kind of want to keep that available and free. Now, I am going to show you what I use. Excuse the dishes. My soda. Now, this is my comal that in the next video I will be making homemade, by hand, tortillas. Well, we're using a tortilla press. But this comal I got from a friend who went to Mexico and got it for me. And I love it. It's cast iron. So it's very, very, very durable. It's not like the ones you buy at Walmart where they end up at some point warping and going to bits. But I use this comal for everything. I use this comal to make my enchiladas, my chile rellenos. I use this comal pretty much for everything. This is my main dish right here. And then I have this puppy. This is what I call, well, my son calls it Big Daddy, because it's an 18-inch skillet and it's 2 inches deep. This is what we will be putting the calabacitas in. Now, I'm using extra virgin olive oil because I like the flavor. Now, other people can use canola, vegetable oil, use whatever oil your heart desires, but I use extra virgin. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trinkle a little bit in here, because with the extra virgin olive oil, you don't need a whole lot. This is about all I put in there. Don't ask me how much that is. I just eyeball it personally. I don't really measure anything. I kind of just eyeball stuff and taste it. Okay, let's put that back. Okay. Oh, now we're going to turn it on. And we're going to wait till the oil heats up. I'm going to turn it to 4.5. Now, when the oil heats up, you will know, because the oil will be kind of more liquidy, not as thick. Okay, now the oil is heated up. You can see how it moves just a tad bit easier around. Okay, but you will want a pan with a lid. And since the oil is heated up, I will turn it down to about 3.5, since this is a pretty big burner. If you can tell, this is the big one. Where my camales, these are the 2 medium ones, and where my cafetera is, it's a small one. So I'm going to grab my calabacitas. And I will place them in here. I got a few extra scragglers, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those and put them in here. And then I'm going to grab a spoon. Now, with my calabacitas, I like to use a metal slotted spoon, because the juices will go into the bottom of them. And you just keep mixing for a bit. That way you can let the fire go down. I got a gas stove. If you have electric, temperatures may vary. But right now I got it on about medium. And then eventually I will turn it to a low as soon as I'm done getting these heated up. Because you want the calabacitas to be heated up. You don't want them to... Oh, I got one that I got to cut here. You don't want them to stay hard. You want them to soften. And when they're softened up, then they'll be good. So you want to get them all mixed up very well with oil. That's what the oil is technically there for, because, like I said, they will condense and the water will come out of them. I'm sorry about my wall, y'all. It was a bad time with that wall. I had my son trying to teach him how to cook, and, well, needless to say, that happened. So, but it's okay. My son's willing to learn to cook, and he's loving to cook. So, now I got these pretty well mixed up with oil. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a tad bit more oil and cover it on top. Okay? I'm just going to take a little bit and do that. Not very much. Because I don't want a whole lot of oil in that pan. Because you'll get a lot of oil just from the water when it's done cooking. Because you'll be adding other ingredients in there that will have more water condensation in it than what you need. So just keep mixing it until you think that all the oil is covered up in it, which it should glitter or glime or look really, really bright and shiny to me. Okay, so now that I got this going in here, I'm going to put this down to a side. I'm going to take the lid, I'm going to put it on top. Now, I'm going to leave it right here at medium-high for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and check on it to see if we need to add in the rest of our ingredients or not. Usually not. It usually takes about 30 minutes for it to actually soften up a lot more and get some more of those juices down. But after about 15 minutes, I still come and check it and mix it up and stir it, because you don't want it to get stuck to the bottom of your pan or even get really crispy and tender, because calabacitas don't need to be crispy and tender like this. Now you can fry them if you want, but I'm doing it this way. So here in 15 minutes we'll come back and we'll check on them. Okay, here it is, 15 minutes later. Well, 17 technically. Well, they look pretty good. Look at that. They're already changing color. They're toasting nicely. That's what you like to see. Now they're still not ready for the tomatoes and the onions to go in yet. But you see how, let me see if I can grab one. Ah, here's one. I don't know if you can tell how soft it looks versus from when it was uncooked. Let me grab one that's not quite cooked yet. Here's one. I don't know if you can tell the difference, how it looks more mushy, as you guess you could say, than the other one. This one right here is the one that's done. That's what we like to see. Now you don't want to mix them a lot, for the sole fact that they will get mushy and they'll go into like mashed potatoes, and you don't want all that. So you just stir them just a little bit to mix them around so they can get covered up some more, and then go and cover them up and let them sit for another 15 minutes, and then we'll see how they turn out. Okay, another 15 minutes has passed, and so we're going to take a look at it. Now, let you know that it's still, for some reason my flash ain't working. It's still at 3.5. That's where it's at right now. So let's take the lid off. Perfect. Now, these are ready for the onions and tomatoes. And we're going to throw those in all together. Now, sometimes, if I wasn't going to eat, and if my daughter wasn't going to eat, I would put jalapenos or habaneros or something in here to make it a little bit spicier. But I don't like those. I refuse to eat spicy food. So we're not putting those in. Usually I'll put those in before I put the onions and tomatoes, but today we're just putting in onions and tomatoes. So I'm going to grab my onions and my tomatoes. Okay. We're going to just throw those puppies in there. There we go. And then we're going to toss the onions in. Probably should have chopped up more onions, but it'll be okay. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with the garlic. I'm going to roast the garlic and then put it in here. Now, we're just going to let this cook. Oh, so slightly. Now, let's get some salt, and let's put some salt in here. I don't usually cook with salt, and don't put salt in my food, but for those who want a little bit of flavor, we're going to add just a little bit of salt. We're not going to add much. I'll put it in this bowl so you guys can see, because you don't want it too salty. I want to say maybe a teaspoon of salt, if that. Like I said, I don't like to put salt in my food a whole lot. I just leave it out most of the time, and then if you want salt, you can put it in yourself. Okay. Now we're going to set this in here, and we're going to let those cook, the onions and the tomatoes. We're going to let those cook down for about 10 minutes. Then we'll come back and we'll add the hot dogs. Alright, so let me know how I'm doing so far. Alright, time to check what we have. Alright. Now look at that. The tomatoes have gone down. You see how much water there is in this? And this is why I say put very little oil. You don't need a whole lot. The condensation of these vegetables will bring in the water. Especially the tomatoes and the onions. And these calabacitas, well, they're mainly water anyway. But as you can see, the tomatoes are cooked. You don't want them roasted, melted, whatever you want to call it. You want to be able to see the tomatoes, because they'll disappear anyway. Alright, now it's time to get the garlic in. So let's go ahead and put the lid back on this. Make sure that stays put. We'll go over here. I'm going to grab my garlic, and I'm going to give it one whack. Oh, sorry, it doesn't work too well when you're on a phone. Alright, that's good. Now we're just going to peel it the best of my ability. Now, I'm going to flatten it out. And when you flatten it out, don't stop. When you flatten it out, you want to make sure it's really good and flat. Anyway, like I said, you want to press it until, you know, you got shit, until it's squeezing out, you know, until it looks flattened. And then what you're going to do is you're going to chop it. Okay, now I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, there's the garlic that I've already cut up, diced up as small as I could get it without cutting my fingers. Now I'm going to bring it over here, take the lid off my pot, and take a little bit of it. I'm going to sprinkle it in, just so randomly. Everybody want to say hi to my other little chef? She's a little mad, but it's okay. She's mad because I'm putting garlic. Now, we want to take our spoon, and you want to just toss that around. You don't want to stir it. Just gently pick up the calabacitas and flip them. That's all you really want to do. You don't want to do too much. Because if you do too much, like I said, it'll be smushed, and you don't want smushed. Because it doesn't look too appealing. It still tastes the same, but it doesn't look very appealing at all. So, you know, if you ever get a chance to make it, it's great. Now, the rest of this garlic I'm going to save till last, because you don't want to use it all at once. You want to wait, because depending on the aroma of the garlic, depends on if you're going to want more. Me, I'll know if I have too much if I can smell the garlic. And like I can smell it now, and it smells wonderful. What do you think about calabacitas, Sai? Good. You like them? Do you like the salsa de molcajete that I made? Yeah. All right. Even though you don't eat chili, huh? All right. Well, there's that, and now we're gonna let this sit for, oh, I want to say another 5, maybe